Hi everyone, so this video is going to be my end of November updates, and I'm starting with my new acquisitions. So I got this at our Orchid Society Christmas party. We have an auction every year, and this is Cypripedium formosanum. I've wanted a Cypripedium for a while, but they're pretty expensive, so in comparison this is a pretty good deal, so I'm glad I have it, and it will be living outside on my balcony. And this is Coryanthes schmidtii, and I got this from Ecogenera when they had a pop-up here. I think this is my third Coryanthes, but I'm hoping this one will do a lot better. I have it hanging at the window, and it came with pretty good roots and pretty nice leaves, so I think this should do well. And these are my other two new plants from Ecogenera. This one is Mormodes rosea, and this one is Cychnoches peruvianum. This one, when I got it, the leaves are already starting to turn yellow. This one is actually still growing a bit, but I wanted to force a dormancy on them. So I cut off all the leaves and I gave it water for the first week just because it did have some new roots, but I did want it to have like a proper rest, so that's why I tried to force a dormancy. So in terms of my overall collection, there's not a whole lot going on, but I did change a couple things for this season. As with my Cychnoches and Mormodes, I try to force a dormancy on my other Ctsms or Ctsms because I noticed that the growths I had are not very big. So if it can have a longer spring-summer season, then I think it'll grow better, but that would mean that it needs to go to bed earlier, so which is why I try to force the dormancy. The other thing I changed was I've changed the timer for my lights for more proper seasonal change. I really want to have some plants that haven't been blooming. I want them to bloom, and I know a seasonal change helps. I've ignored it before, but I'm actually doing it this time. So the hours have changed by 2 hours, so it wakes up 1 hour later and turns off 1 hour earlier. And then in December I will change it to 1 hour less, and then I'll reverse it the next year. Alrighty, so let's look at the plants. So this one is my RLC Durigan, the other cutting. Still nothing on it, so just waiting. And you can see now I only have one of the larger Paraphalaenopsis laycockii. Well, it's not really seedling anymore, but one of the larger Paraphalaenopsis plants, and it's pushing out a new root. The other one I donated to our Christmas auction, so someone has that now. And this is my LC Supersonic Striking Lip. I did a bit of an emergency repot. Basically, the roots were starting to come out from the old pot, and I wanted to keep everything inside a pot. So I used this milk jug for that. I think I could have cut off the back roots to fit into a smaller pot, but I was kind of afraid to do that. So this is what we have. I didn't remove any of the media. It's all still there. The empty spaces I filled with charcoal. I didn't want it to be heavier, so I used charcoal. And then near the front, I used rock. You can see those are the roots. The reason why it was an emergency repot was I noticed the roots had started growing, and I don't want to do it while the roots are longer. I did end up damaging one of the root tips, but you can see it's recovered well. And this is my Rebecca Northen. So this is the latest growth, and I've cut off the leaves, and you can see that these have all turned kind of brown, so I think that's a good sign. I will repot this probably before next year. I like to pot my Ctsms while they're still dormant. That's because I'm just always afraid of either breaking roots or breaking the new growth. And I'm probably gonna remove all the sheath and clean it up. So yeah, that's the plan. And another thing I'm hoping to change is making the reservoir a lot deeper. I think it'll help with growing bigger bulbs. And this is my other Paraphalaenopsis. I think I'm just gonna chuck this. It's pretty dire. I mean, it's possible it could survive, but I also just I don't want to deal with this anymore. So it's going. And this is my Cattleya mossiae. I know it needs a bit of a rest, but it's also growing a lot still. 1, 2, 3. Those are the 3 latest growths, so I don't want to keep it completely dry. So what I've done is I let it dry out completely. Usually what that means is for most of my plants I water once a week, and then I'll let this dry out another week just because it has rock wool, so I think it does stay a bit more moist. So that way I can guarantee that it's more dry. This pseudobulb seems like it's growing a sheath, but I also have sheaths on some other pseudobulbs, but no buds yet. But I think that'll be next year if it happens. And this is my Phrag seedling. You can see it has a bit of an infection. I've been spraying it with a fungicide. I don't know, I always have a fungus problem in my collection, and I'm not sure why. It seems overall like it's growing, so I'm gonna keep it. And this is my Ctsm cross. Same deal, it's a forced dormancy, and same plan with repotting next year with the larger reservoir. And this is my Dendrobium formosum, and it started to push out a new growth. And this is Dendrobium chapayense, and it's also pushing out a new growth. I actually had an incident with this where I accidentally pulled it out of the pot, which is why it looks a bit weird. Kind of want to put it back, but also I don't want to disturb it. Maybe I can just put more lava rock around it. For now, I've just left it. And this is Bulbillum euthyiense, and it's pushing out a new growth. And I can kind of see it. It's in the middle of the video there. Not the one at the bottom. It's really small. And this is my Dendrobium loei. That latest growth is looking pretty fat, which is good. I think it's technically a keiki because it's higher on the cane, but regardless, it's doing well. And then it's also pushing out 2 smaller growths on the bottom there. And this is my Rhinanthera monachica. I decided to cut off all the leaves that were looking pretty bad, so it looks a lot better now. I did notice that this top leaf has some discoloration, so I'll probably cut that off as well. And so this is my Phalagevenica keiki. It's looking pretty good. The mother plant doesn't look all that great. I'm wondering if I should just chuck it and then just keep the keiki. And this is my Masdevallia amplexa, and it's coming into bloom, which is great. And this is my Phalsa parisiae. It doesn't look much better, but it's also not worse, which is a good sign. I did lose that flower spike, but that's okay. I just want the plant to be healthy. And you can see I no longer have my Phal amboinensis. That's because the fungal problem was getting closer and closer to the stem, and I just didn't want to spend time to try to fix it, so I tossed it. It's not a super rare plant, so I think I can get it at another time if I really wanted to. And this is my Phal no ID, and it's pushing out 2 flower spikes, which is great. This is Rhincoretes Bangkok Sunset, and it for sure has a flower spike, which is awesome. And this is Dendrobium christianum. It has new growth. And this is my Clowesia amazonica. So this one I also put in a forced dormancy. I almost didn't want to, but it was way off season. And it has pretty okay back bulbs, so I think it'll be fine. Also with all my Catasedums and Clowesias, if it gets too wrinkled, I do water it anyway. I just drain the water out of the pot so it doesn't stay like wet. And this is my Yaliandra also going into dormancy. This one I didn't force because it usually does it on its own on time, so that's fine. And this is my RLC Durigan that I potted up, and it still has a new growth, but it hasn't really done much yet. And this is my Cattleya dormaniana. Has these 3 growths. This one's looking quite fat, so I'm hoping I can get a bloom out of that one. And this one is RYC Taiwan Firecracker Era. Has new growth. And this is my Miltassia, and it has a new growth starting. And this is my Sanhopia, and it has a new growth. Alrighty, so that's my video for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!